Despite what their moms told them, they just aren't talented enough for radio. Unfortunately, anyone can have a show these days. Sean.
Well, I'm pretty hard to figure out sometimes. In fact, I can't even figure myself out sometimes, so don't you try to.
Joe.
You're an idiot. And really a disloyal person.
This is the Cuse Militia. Those two unapologetically biased, orange-blooded homers, Sean and Joe.
It's the most bullshit thing I've seen in 30 years.
Welcome, Orange men and ladies. Happy Thursday. This is the Cuse Militia with Sean and Joe at Cuse Militia on the socials. Go there. Join the militia. Well, another Louisville game, another cancellation. Syracuse got to go to Kentucky, sightsee, turn around, come back.
Nice.
Yeah, missed opportunity at a quad one game we were looking forward to. And as our buddy James points out, this is actually the third game in a row between Syracuse and Louisville that has either been canceled or postponed, which is getting ridiculous. And let's just point out, too, that the last two postponements they're on Louisville, and they can't get their together worth anything, quite frankly. So we'll Coach sounded off on that. We'll sound off on that as well. We got some football news, and Syracuse will stay put at home as Notre Dame comes to visit this Saturday at 2 o'clock. We'll let you know what we think about that. In the days that have passed without any Syracuse basketball, minor movement in the KenPom rankings to 57th and one up, another notch. To 50, what is it, 51st? Was it 52nd? I thought it was 52nd. 53rd to 52nd. No, 52nd in the net, I believe. Oh. So, from 53rd. So, yeah, that's all great. Great stuff. So, a missed game, you know, you wake up on game day and you just get, you know, the game day feels, man, and you're ready to go. You got something to look forward to at night. You're going to drink a couple beers. Maybe do a live cast or something like that, and shoot the breeze on Twitter with everybody, and have some fun, and then another cancellation. So, anyways, we'll talk about all that. But first, let's hear from the title sponsor of the Cuse Militia and Armchair Media, and that would be Bet Online. Football's over. The Professional Basketball League is in full swing. College basketball is also in full swing, about to approach some tournaments, hopefully, in the NHL, NASCAR. BetOnline even covers awards, TV shows, and reality TV. The real-time updated odds and props on almost anything you can imagine. BetOnline has you covered for all the news, scores, and odds. It's the best way to place your bets, and it's free to sign up. Head over to the website today on your mobile device and receive a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit if you use the promo code ARMCHAIR. That's a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use the promo code ARMCHAIR. BetOnline, your online sportsbook experts. Thank you, BetOnline. Okay, Joe, I'm going to rattle this off, and then you're going to explain it or elaborate on it because, you know, it's basketball season. Football season never ends. Sometimes, sometimes I wish it would. I appreciate the work that is put into NCAA football. I think it's really elaborate as hell. I mean, it never stops. And I mean, technically, basketball really doesn't either, but it's nothing like football. The football carousel is just nonstop. So some football news. Syracuse did secure their first verbal commit of the 2022 recruiting class. 3-star defensive back Cornell Perry, 6'1", 175-pound cornerback out of Woodhaven High School in Michigan. He announced on Tuesday that he would attend Syracuse, according to Syracuse.com. Also, new offensive line coach, according to Pete Thamel. Sources, per his tweet, say, Syracuse expected to hire San Diego State's Mike Schmidt as the school's new offensive line coach. So, one in, then we got one going out. Ryan Bartow, director of high school relations. He was in charge of recruiting and evaluating high school players. He's taken the same job at Florida State after 1 year with Syracuse. So, right when you're making a step in the right direction, poor Dino, he's got to backtrack and figure out and add another one to his list. So there's that. Only lasted a year. I don't blame him, to be honest with you, and it has nothing to do with football, but in Syracuse's program, it has everything to do with leaving Syracuse for Florida. Just throwing that out there. Plus, I mean, talent in every high school on the corner there. So what do you think, Joe?
Obviously, it's tough to really weigh Ryan Bartow as far as like what he has brought to the table in just 1 year. But he has, in his line of work, majority of he lived in the Carolinas for 8 years and South Florida for 5 years. So it kind of makes sense that he made that jump to Florida State. Obviously, he's used to that area and he's got some relationships with a lot of high school coaches in that area. So makes sense. And honestly, we're not going to know how big of a loss this is until we actually see if Florida State can actually help their recruiting and if that helps as far as that goes.
Well, quickly though, do we even get to see an impact after 1 year? I mean, that's not even a fair evaluation, I don't think.
No, I mean, this is a multi-year event. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you'd have to pay attention to this guy, pay attention to the Florida State recruiting classes, and to see really how that really gets affected. But I don't know. I don't know who's got that kind of time, but I don't. So as far as the new offensive line coach, Mike Schmidt, hopefully, again, this is expected, so it's not official, I guess, yet. But guys, he's got a pretty strong resume. Granted, San Diego State, but I don't know. It's a situation since he's taken the position over full time since 2012. I think that this says something. According to the bio on the San Diego State Athletics website, the Aztecs have ranked 15th nationally in rushing yards and rushing yards per game. So he also coached this last year's offensive line to, I think it was ranked top 25. It was a top, I think, 24th offensive line of the country, or in the country, so to speak. There's some rankings and metrics that kind of weigh that out. But I think he's also gotten 3 offensive linemen drafted from San Diego State. So looks like he's got a decent resume, and hopefully he can come in and he can make an impact in that area. And as far as the last bit of news, the 3-star Cornell Perry, this is just one of those things where I think that his recruitment will probably pick up, barring I don't know exactly what's going to go on with high school sports this year. But
I mean, a verbal commit right now, let's be honest. I mean, it's not very exciting news. I understand. No. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it if it comes through. But it's a 2022 verbal commit, which is great. But how much water does it hold? Let's be honest.
Well, again, it's going to be tough because obviously right now it's so early in the game. This is one of those guys where when you look at the offers, it's like a bunch of MAC schools like Buffalo, Central Michigan, Toledo, schools like that, right? But he's also getting interest from Boston College, Cincinnati, Indiana. And I've also noticed when I looked at his tape, he's got a 3.8 GPA. Smart
That's
kid.
Excellent. Yeah.
Sorry?
What the hell was that? Was that a cough or a sneeze?
That was 2 sneezes in a row.
Those were really rapid. That was like
that's kind of how my sneezes go. It's weird. I never sneeze just once.
I was going to say, I don't ever hear you sneeze that much.
It's 2 to 4.
It's 2 to 4 like that? Boom, 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 like that?
Oh, yeah.
You're like a sneeze machine gun.
Dude, it's tough.
Holy cow. What happens in a sneezing fit, man? I mean, do you get to breathe?
Nah, I got to go blow the nose and breathe. Yeah, for sure. It takes a little while to come back from, but I'm going to try to do my best. But either way.
Takes a lot out of him, folks. He's fatigued.
This kid, obviously 3.8 GPA, smart kid. You got the Yales and the Penns and even Army, and so it kind of tells you where his head's at as far as a smart kid. And also got that, leadership type quality where you got the military schools that are interested as well. But when you look at his tape, I mean, I know it says 6'1", 175, but he looks a little bigger. And this is one of those guys that he's going to be a safety. You can tell looking at his tape. I love how he comes downhill and attacks the runner as far as on rushing plays. Seems to be a pretty sure tackler. And the other thing that I really like, too, is, a lot of times you see some of these secondary guys. I know I used to get on, was it Evan Foster all the time about taking bad angles and stuff like that, not putting himself in a position to kind of.
No, that wasn't it. That wasn't his name.
Evan Foster?
Yeah.
Pretty sure it was. He was a safety. But.
Who else was it then?
No, I don't know.
I hate to do this live right now and screw you up.
Yeah,
it's tough. I feel like.
But either way, the one thing that I saw is that when he gets out he stays in his lanes. He doesn't over pursue. He breaks down and doesn't let he holds off blockers well. So it's a situation where I feel like he does what he has to do and puts himself in position to make the plays. He doesn't just attack and put himself in a bad spot and his teammates in a bad spot to miss a tackle or open up the field for a cutback or something like that. So there's just a couple of things that I saw in his tape that I liked. And obviously that's a stacked position for us right now as far as secondary and recruiting and everything. So might not necessarily need to be a position of need to where he has to come in and help as a true freshman. But either way, I like the way that he plays. I liked his tape, 4.44 40. It's pretty fast. Running away. He played receiver on offense too in his tape, so he made some good plays. Got some ball skills. Got some running skills and stuff like that. You saw him running away from some people. So overall, I think obviously a pretty good get if we can obviously keep him because we have a whole year.
Yeah, we have a whole year of recruiting and a year and a half to that season.
But either way, it's the first commit. You got to talk about it.
Yeah. Yep. Remember the name. That's all I can say.
Cornell Berry.
All right. Hey, look. So, coach in the team, they were in Louisville. I think this is so.
I think this is the second time this has happened.
This is the second time it's happened the day of a game, and it's so. What do I want to say? What is the word I'm looking for? Not. It's frustrating, obviously, but it's so.
Bittersweet.
No. It's just so something. So.
God.
Help me out, bro.
Wish you had the word. I don't know. I
right
tried.
now.
I threw bittersweet out, and you just.
Bittersweet was not it. That was not it. It's not irresponsible, but it's so complacent. Like, what are you doing? Where your last 4 games have been postponed because of you. You've been in quarantine for 16 days now, including today. Okay, and you're still popping in contact tracing. Still. Like, how? What is going on? What are you doing?
They had a positive test.
How? What are you doing? You must be. Look, here's the thing. Syracuse got busted, or there was said to be student athletes. We still don't know yet. That's not confirmed, by the way. This party, they had some kid who witnessed it and took video and ratted them out and everything, called the police and everything because there was people outside without masks. Were they inside without masks too? Probably. But he saw them outside without masks. That's why he called the police. Okay? So there were student athletes involved in this. And I think that is irresponsible. If you're a student athlete, you're putting that program and your team at risk for a selfish gain. Okay? I think student athletes have some level of responsibility when it comes to staying, following all the rules to be safe, right? Because you don't want to put your team. Rules are rules. You play
no matter
sports.
What you think about it.
You have an academic scholarship, and that's you want to get into that. It's a whole other thing. But I'm just saying, you're there on a scholarship, and you get to play sports, and you get all these frills and things like that. Follow the rules, do your thing. There's no excuse for Louisville to have a positive test 16 days after they started this whole quarantine thing. For their February 1st issue, whatever it was.
Right.
So Syracuse gets there. They have to turn around and leave 4 hours before tip-off, okay? So Matt Park tweets out the other day, Yesterday. Tonight's Syracuse game in Louisville has been postponed. He quotes Boeheim. He says, quote, "It's bad. We played well and have had 2 good practices. We're ready. At the end of the year, they're missed opportunities. It's one thing if you lose, that's bad. But if you can't play, that's worse." Boeheim again. At the end of the year, there are missed opportunities. Louisville twice, Florida State, Clemson, 3 of them at home. Terrible for our team. I feel bad for our guys. And that's just it. So when you go and you're a student athlete and you go out, let's just say it's Syracuse. So let's say Buddy Boeheim goes out to a party and he gets pops a positive test. He screws the team. He screws the program, and he screws the team coming. The next team we're facing.
Right.
It's inexcusable for Louisville to still be popping on this contact tracing stuff. It's inexcusable to me. So do we make up the game? You would think that. And they're not going anywhere in the net. They're still like 34th. It's not a huge deal, but they're sitting right there. They can't be denied if the tournament was tomorrow. How could you deny them? I mean.
No, I mean,
so
can you argue? Here's an argument, and to me, it's kind of a legitimate one, but some of these postponement games and stuff, I think that the committee should look at who is at fault. I think that how a team has handled and managed this COVID crisis, I think that should be a criteria this year.
Yeah, I think Louisville's done a terrible job.
Yeah, there's
Just
a lot
awful.
of teams that have done a terrible job. There's other teams that have just decided, and that's the difference. You look at a Duke team that, they canceled all their non-conference games because of the whole COVID thing. Now, you can call all that stuff on Duke, but because they did that in the beginning, I don't think that they're going to take as much of a hit. But Louisville in the beginning, especially something like this game, like you said, I mean, it's been 2.5 weeks. They haven't played a game. They finally got to the point where they were ready to go, and then all of a sudden, boom. So
when are we testing them too?
That shouldn't go. The fact that we can't play a game because of another team shouldn't go against us.
No, at that point, especially look, I know there's no rules written for this. Okay, at Tony Staffieri on Twitter says, if this game's rescheduled against Louisville, if there's a chance for it at the end of the year, this needs to be a home game at Syracuse. They can come back to us. We're not going there. They've jerked us around enough, right? So. You'll be lucky to get one of these games back. I think the right thing for the NCAA to do, and I think the writing was on the wall, probably, I don't know, at the beginning of the year.
When I said it.
At the beginning of the year was to leave bigger gaps in between the tournaments. I don't care if it's April Madness or May Madness. I don't really care. Okay, the right thing for the NCAA to do is to leave the gaps. Now, there's a lot of people with a lot of different ideas, skipping that ACC tournament or conference tournaments in general, using that period for a quarantine time. I don't. Why? Why?
Yeah, this is a problem of just leadership not being able to see things, right? I mean, Boeheim, he said it from the beginning. Oh, this is how it's going to be. It's going to be a problem. We're not going to be able to. And you want to squeeze this in and have a normal schedule, that's going to be a problem because now you have the problem of teams where it hasn't affected them versus teams that have. So now you have teams with uneven schedules. You have some teams that didn't get the same amount of non-conference games, so they're not going to get those wins built up. And you got some teams that are 8-8, other teams that have played 20-plus games. It's going to be a difficult and tall task. This should have been something that was foreseen, and they should have spread out the schedule to allow for reschedules. The fact of the matter is that it's not. Even with Syracuse, it's just a situation where what are you going to do? I mean, we play Saturday, we play Monday, then we don't play for another Saturday. So what do we try to squeeze a Wednesday, Thursday, and then you look at the rest of the schedule, and we don't have anything clear until after our last game. We'll have, I think, a little bit of time to maybe reschedule one, possibly 2 games, but then are they going to be available? So there's like I said from the beginning, they should have took 2 or 3 weeks. They should have spread everything out to where you have at least 2 3,
weeks.
4, 5 day in between schedule so that you can fit some games in because you can't go back to back on a normal schedule, but you can play after 2 days.
Right. And you got to, there was another one I saw from John Cassillo on Noon's Magician, I think, where he said, finish the ACC regular season in a bubble at Greensboro, or where they plan on playing the ACC tournament, and finish it off there and go right into the tournament. I mean, that's one way. Okay, all right, that's an idea. Or we could just...
No, I mean, that's an expensive idea.
That's an expensive idea. It's a very expensive idea. But you understand that these dates for the tournaments have been already set, but who cares? Who cares? If you got to push it back, you got to push it back. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. The sooner they did that, the better than easier it would be to plan it out.
It's not like you're telling 30,000 people that their dates changed.
Yeah, right.
I mean, what's the problem with? I mean, as far as Syracuse goes, I mean, we're not even selling tickets. We don't even have fans.
No. By the way, Notre Dame is a makeup game. The game we're about to preview here in a little bit, that is a makeup game. So you still, if you don't miss any more for the year, you're looking at 2 Louisville games, a Florida State and a Clemson. Now, I've watched Florida State play last week against UVA. Bro, they smoked.
I'm okay with that one.
They smoked UVA. If we don't have to reschedule that one, I'm okay with that. But 2 opportunities against Louisville would have been nice, and one of them would have been nice, and we'll just have to see what they decide. But if the wheels aren't turning for the NCAA right now, that's a travesty. That's irresponsible, and it's really kind of dumb. Like,
should have already turned.
Yeah, I mean, it's dumb. I mean, and I can sit here as a pedestrian fan and say it's dumb, and I'm sure there's more things involved in it, but I have been hearing crickets from the NCAA.
Right.
Crickets. So,
And then there should have been something that was said about the fact of teams bringing up the fact that they can opt out of their conference tournaments, because that's going to bring a whole different conundrum to the situation.
I don't like that idea either. I think
that, like you said, I think if you don't play in your conference game, then if you
skip the conference, there's got to be like you can't just skip your conference because you've got the record or criteria or
because you're safe. It's never happened even in the past. Like, why wouldn't you?
Yeah,
It's because of the whole COVID thing. They don't want to chance being around that many different people.
Right, and if we can do that, why can't we just put the gaps in between the tournaments? Like, it seems like the easiest solution to me. Anyways, okay, all right. Well, that's that. I was trying to get y'all's thoughts on that before we came on, and I dropped the ball this morning to see what.
Yeah, well, there's some ideas out there, but
there are some good ideas out there. Yeah, but not playing basketball to play just the tournament, it screws a lot of people over, and I don't think it's fair. And you're missing people having makeup games. These smaller schools, I mean, they're losing their asses hand over fist right now on the ticket sales and things like that. And if they're just going to screw them out of tournaments too, that's malarkey, man. I'm sorry. I don't agree with that at all. I think it's dumb. I think it's really, really dumb. Okay. Yeah. We will be back with the Notre Dame preview right after this. All right, a couple more things real quick here. Look, eBay Sneakers has jumped on board to help us out. Help out the Cuse Militia. Help out Armchair Media. Whether rare dead stock or the latest release, find the exact shoe you're looking for on eBay as the original sneaker marketplace. eBay is the place to go to cop a pair you've been eyeing. And with eBay's authenticity guarantee, a team of independent professional authenticators, easy for me to say, perform a rigorous inspection of the sneakers you purchase before they're sent to you, so you can shop confidently knowing your pair is the real deal. And for the sneaker sellers out there, if you got some you're trying to get rid of, eBay has eliminated selling fees on sneakers $100 plus, making it free to sell and flip your collection. With other sites taking as much as 25%, you're going to have a lot of extra money left for more sneakers. Check it out, ebay.com/sneakers today. Go there, check it out. In fact, I think Armchair is giving away some sneakers too, and I will keep everybody updated on that. Some custom Air Force Ones. I think there's 4 pair that they're giving away, so I'll keep you guys updated on that. But I have bought, before they even were a sponsor, the last pair of sneakers I bought were from eBay Sneakers, by the way. And it was a pleasant experience. BetOnline, the fastest, easiest way to get in on all of your sports action online. They cover award shows, TV shows, professional basketball, college basketball, the NHL, NASCAR, anything you can imagine, reality TV, which is right up Joe's alley. Real-time, updated odds and props, and almost anything you can imagine, BetOnline has you covered for all the news, scores, and odds. It's the best way to place your bet online, and it's free to sign up. Head to the website today on your mobile device and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Use the promo code ARMCHAIR to get that bonus. That's 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Use the promo code ARMCHAIR. BetOnline, your online sportsbook experts. Thank you, BetOnline. Thank you, eBay Sneakers. Okay, so, Joe, Notre Dame. The all-time series with Notre Dame sits at 30-22 in favor of the Orange. Both games last year were decided by a total of 3 points, a 1-point loss and a 2-point win for Syracuse. The last game, an 84-82 win with Hughes leading the way with 26 points. We all remember the Gerard DeHub handoff at the buzzer, which was glorious and wonderful. The Fighting Irish sit 9-10, 6-7. That puts them 10th in the ACC. They have also had a postponed game last night against Clemson due to contact tracing for them. So luckily for us, it was the Clemson team and not them. When I saw their game was postponed, I would quickly check that out. Notre Dame had won 4 of their last 5 games, wins over Pitt, Wake Forest, then they lost to Georgia Tech before beating Duke and Miami. And just like Syracuse, they have 5 guys averaging double figures, led by Nate Laszewski with 15 points and 7.5 rebounds. Laszewski, 6'10 junior, and 6'11 senior, Juwan Durham. They're 2 bigs. Durham leading his team in blocks with 2 a game. A guard-heavy team with some shooters, 6'6 junior guard Dane Goodwin, 39% from distance. And we all know Prentice Hub. He can do it too. Notre Dame is 56 in KenPom and 65th in the net, making this a quad 2 game at home. Joe, 2 grudge matches last year. And if I had to guess, I'd be willing to bet that this is probably the same type of thing that we're going to see again. I feel like the one thing that bothers me is maybe with the pause helps from this Clemson game for them, but they were getting hot at the right time. They've been kind of on a roll. These teams on paper, they're pretty much evenly matched, but the game's not played on paper. But they seem to be, these 2 teams seem to be almost what they were last year. Just a tough out for both teams. Could go either way. What say you?
Well, you mentioned the big guys. Notre Dame, they really don't go deep. And one of the things about their team is that they're just very experienced. They haven't played, I think, since the 14th. And they were supposed to play Clemson last night, but that game got postponed, of course, because of Clemson.
Said that.
I would have really liked them to have been able to play last night, but you know.
I know it would have been nice. It would have been nice to watch. So instead, they prep for Syracuse.
Right, and so the last 2 games against Miami and Duke, both wins. They've only went 7 deep. Problem is that 5 of them are juniors, 2 of them are seniors, and they're experienced. They can score. They're 13th in KenPom as far as offensive efficiency, but their weakness is defense. Nate Laszewski, yes, he's 6'10", but a lot of times he tends to be around the perimeter. Juwan Durham's given us problems at 6'11" as well, but a majority of their scoring and shots are going to come from Cormac Ryan and Dane Goodwin and Prentice Hub. And again, pretty decent-sized
they shoot
guards.
A lot of threes too, man.
Yeah.
That Dane Goodwin is all he does is shoot threes.
6'5", 6'6". Prentice Hub is 6'3". Coming off the bench, Trey Wirtz, transfer from Santa Clara. He's been getting 20-plus minutes. He's 6'3", and Jogo is a 6'8" guard who's been coming off the bench as well. So he gives a little bit of obviously height in the guard position, but they're not really. You look at it like a Joe Girard at 6 foot 6'1". He's going to be the shortest guy on the court, and that's something that we're obviously going to have to overcome. And then obviously the rebounding is something that we're always going to look at as Syracuse fans. That's obviously an important stat as far as how telling the game went. But this Notre Dame team, even though they're, what are they, like 9-10 or something like that?
Yeah, they're 9-10, 6-7 in the ACC.
Right. So they're 9-10, but they're 6-8 out of the last 8 games in the last month. When you look at their schedule and the losses that they've had starting from the beginning, I mean, you're
Ohio
at
State, Michigan State.
Michigan State, Ohio State, Duke, Purdue, Virginia twice, Virginia Tech, North Carolina, Virginia Tech, Virginia and Virginia Tech twice, and then they lost a close one to Georgia Tech. So they haven't lost really a bad game.
They have not lost a bad game.
And this team is, like I said, their weakness is their defense and their depth, but their depth that they do have is experienced, and they're on a roll right now. So they're winning the games they're supposed to. And I think that this is going to be, obviously maybe a closer game than some people might think. I don't know exactly what the line is yet, obviously.
What do you think people are thinking? Because I feel like this is going to be a freaking nail biter. At least that's what those
are the type of games that we played, right?
Yeah, and I mean, you're missing what? TJ Gibbs. We're missing Hughes from last year,
right.
But everything else is pretty much right where it was.
Pretty much the same. Yeah. Right.
So,
I mean, I think that honestly, this is a game to me, as long as we can rebound and play good defense, that we're going to be able to get some shots. Their defense is like 113th or something like that in Ken Palm, so it's not a great defense. So they're going to, allow you to score. They've been in some high-scoring games, but to me, this could be a game for Kadari. I think Kadari in this game is a mismatch. It's something that, they remember the Prentice Hub, Joe Girard thing last year, right?
Yes,
and
which was contentious.
I don't know exactly. And I don't think that needs to really be like a situation this year, right? I mean, it doesn't need to be a thing.
Well,
and
Prentice Hub he gets into it. He does. And Joe's chippy. So it's just oil and water.
Oh, I 100% get that, but Prentice Hub's not going to be able to guard Kadari, as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, I would agree with that.
So, and that's something that team hasn't seen yet either. So, again, expect the status quo starters.
Yes.
There's
no reason to think different of that.
Right. But I think Kadari and what he does when he comes in, I think is really, as long as we can keep the rebounding gap close, not give up a lot of offensive rebounds, and basically what Kadari does when he comes in is going to be telling on whether or not we're going to be able to win this game or not. Two things to really keep your eye out on. I mean, that's what I'm going to be looking at halftime when I look at the score. Obviously, you want to look at shooting percentages and who's scoring what, but I'm going to look at the rebounding, and I'm going to look at how Kadari's doing.
What do we do inside with those two big guys? They play together quite a bit. So.
They do. Nate Laszewski is, again, he's been a guy that's he likes his little his baseline 3-pointers, and he's got some spots where he's really good with the 3-pointers. He's a 6'10" forward that can shoot and extend the floor. So he always hits a few. I don't know really how he is down low. And Juwan Durham, I mean, for almost every game that we've had with Juwan Durham before this, he's gotten in foul trouble, but we've always had kind of a true center going against him, whether it was Chukwu or whether it was Sidibe. So haven't really seen him against Doljai, and I'm not going to lie, it kind of scares me a little bit.
Yeah, well, me too. I mean, but
big boy.
Yeah, Laszewski, by the way, he's 32 for 62 from distance, which is really controlled and good. He sits at 52%.
Right, but that's not even, 2 a game?
It's something like that. But my point is that he's going to, he's probably not going to take him if he's not getting them. So you just have to be aware of that, because he can hit him. Right. If you're going to leave him open, he's probably going to hit him.
No,
that's the thing. Right. But that's the problem with Syracuse's defense, especially the past couple years, where you just don't get to your man and you lose in rotation, and we get passed out basically, and Syracuse is lost. All of them are inside the paint. And you know what I'm saying?
And an experienced team that's gone against his own can pass their way through it too.
Yeah, exactly.
So again, it's just the unknowns. Last year they were close games, and like you said, we lost Elijah, they lost Gibbs,
Gibbs a hell of an athlete too. Obviously, Elijah is. I'm not taking anything away from him.
And we added Kadari, and they brought in a transfer from Santa Clara, who's a guard that's, like I said, been playing 20-plus minutes the last couple of games, and he's never seen the zone. So, I mean, that's a couple of the key things, too, that you can look at is how is
he hasn't seen the zone really a threat right now this year? I mean, I'm just saying. I mean,
it could be. You got to be able to. I mean, I'm just saying you got to be able to learn it, right? And if he's a backup that's coming in and putting up 20, I mean, he's putting up around the same numbers Kadari is, and he's coming in a little bit later. So this is a guy that's not going to. He hasn't seen the 2-3 zone, and he's going to come in and he's going to probably be playing against Kadari Richmond on the front of it.
Well, that would be unfortunate for him, I guess.
Well, but that's what I'm saying is that I guess, he's a good player, but it's something you got to get used to. Right. And I can if I had to guess, Kadari's going to get a couple steals, so that guy might have a couple turnovers just because of that situation. But what is Kadari going to do against them? What is their big guys going to do against us without a traditional center? Those are the things that are kind of a little bit different from last year. But otherwise, I mean, you got two teams that can score. We're statistically better on defense than they are. But again, against the 2-3 zone, anybody can get hot and hitting threes if you move the ball around.
Yeah, Kadari what is he averaging in minutes a game? He's averaging 21 minutes a game. That's pretty good. And 2 steals. So
right. And I'd be willing to bet, unless Joe's hitting, that he is probably going to get more minutes this game than he is. Than Joe.
Yeah, and
Sorry.
Back to what we've talked about, you've brought up before, is when Kadari gets a lot of minutes, it's because of the matchup issue, and they just exploit what they can while they can, and that's why Joe will probably start, and they'll feel it out, and then they'll throw Kadari in, and they'll rotate Buddy and Joe or whatever.
And he'll get some steals.
Yeah. So, anyways, all right, Joe, we got to do it. Predictions. I don't know why you're so apt on doing it. You're okay with football. You're all about it. And then we get to basketball, and you're like, I don't want to predict anything. It doesn't make any sense.
Sorry.
Isn't it fun? Yes.
Sure.
It's fun.
It's fun. It's great. Great fun.
Okay, so we look. So let's add a little to this. Syracuse is averaging 76 points a game, and Notre Dame's averaging 72. Okay. So, by the way, Notre Dame's averaging 33 rebounds a game, which is good to know. I think we're averaging 36. We are 36. So, I'll go first. I'm going to say, oh man. Okay. I'm going to say 72-68 Syracuse. That's my guess.
All right.
We'll see what happens. What's yours?
Good guess. I'm going to go 79-74.
Okay. Are you going to tell us who wins or no?
Syracuse.
Okay. All right. We're going to actually pay attention to it this time and see who comes out on top.
Well, I mean, you write it down every week, but I feel like you just don't say anything because I beat you every time.
No,
so.
Here's what's happened the past couple times.
You're a sore loser. I get it.
Things have gotten canceled. And then we forgot it. Last week, we forgot to do it. So
did we? Or did you? Because I won.
Did you?
Of course.
Shut up, Joe. What was mine? What was mine? 72-68? Okay. All right. So... and just for the record, Notre Dame after Syracuse, they've got the bums. The bums. No, they're going to face the bums after.
They got a postponement coming next week.
They'll face Louisville on Tuesday. The bums. So yeah, good luck. See. Good luck. See if you can make that game up. Louisville and Boston College should just be. They should play each other to the bottom. And if Louisville ever gets to play again, if they can control their athletes, So, anyways,
you get trophy for most postponements. Louisville wins.
I mean, 4 in a row, 5 in a row now.
Yeah,
That's pathetic.
it's crazy.
It is, and it's pathetic. It's crazy, and it's pathetic. All right, thank you. Bet Online.
Must have been a recruiting weekend.
Thank you to eBay Sneakers. Thank you, Live CBD. And for all of you, for hanging out with us. We appreciate it. We love you. For Joe, I'm Sean. We're out.
Peace.
You actually said it. You said the word. Said the whole thing. You're the only guy I know who can take one syllable word and make it a half a syllable word. You got no comment?
Got skills.